This is just a typical mold killing water-based primer that I think it's pretty important to use a mold killing type primer because especially in this like Florida climate, it's a very nice place. We have very nice beaches, but man, is it ever humid here. And things like fungus, fungal growth, mold, really like, they really like to break down wood if they can. But that's why we use Accoya, right? Because, well, you have to understand, okay, why we even switched to Accoya to begin with. Okay, so I used cypress for years, and what happened is that it became a crapshoot. I started getting callbacks because people's sashes were rotting, and it turns out that cypress, where it once was a wood that could do no wrong, it was almost magic, you know, in its longevity, its resistance to rot and termites and stuff like that. I mean, it was grown in the swamps, right? It evolved in the swamps, and it just lasted a really long time. But guess what? Turns out that all those trees are gone, right? Okay, all those good trees are gone. I mean, they have cypress that grows, right? But it's not the cypress that cypress was known for. Anyway, so a long time ago, oh, I don't know when it was. This guy, you know, the Eastman Kodak people, and it's part of their experiments in getting all their film developing chemicals and stuff like that going. They somehow discovered that, I don't know how you discovered this, but introducing acetic acid to a wood changed its molecular structure somehow, and it changed the starches into the wood in the wood into something that was no longer digestible by microorganisms. So no fungal activity, no mold growth. I mean, I think fungus will try to eat it, but But anyway, so that's what they discovered, right? And I think they even tried to market it for a while under the brand name Superwood or something like that. Failed miserably, right? They couldn't bring it to market. Couldn't get it to go. So, who knows why? Probably 100 different reasons, right? These people over in, I guess it's Denmark? Sweden? I'm not sure. Over there, one of those type of countries. That's where this Accoya comes from. They started messing with that, right? Started messing with the formulas and the marketing and stuff like that. And they introduced the same type of wood back to the world as Accoya, Accoya. So basically, the Accoya is a wood that goes through a process that's called acetylation. That's basically introducing acetic acid to the wood through and through, so that the molecules inside are changed, right? So acetylation is basically a big word for pickling it. Okay, they pickle the wood, and so actually, when you smell this wood being cut, it smells like pickles. One of the other benefits is that it stabilizes the wood because it changes the way that the water interacts with the fibers of the wood. And where before a typical wood taking on moisture in the atmospheric conditions, you know, the humidity rises, then the wood expands, air dries, the wood shrinks. That doesn't happen with Accoya, okay? To the same degree. I think it happens on a really, really microscopic level, you know, but nothing perceptible by the eye. Cypress was so notorious for expanding and contracting sometimes that if on a humid day using cypress, if I were to mill the parts for a typical window sash in the morning, right, and I didn't assemble the parts that morning, the humidity could affect the wood to the point where my joints no longer fit properly. So I had to do it right then and there. With Accoya, whatever. I can mill it today, assemble it tomorrow, no big deal. That, you know, that stability, you know, transfers to the way that it takes the paint, right? Because if the wood doesn't expand and contract, underneath the paint film, that means the paint film doesn't have to stretch along with the atmospheric changes, right? And it can just stick there. So I want everybody to know that there's a huge difference between an Accoya sash and an original sash, okay? An original sash, you would notice that the sides are not painted. See how that sash, the sides are not painted? That's an original sash, okay? And the reason why you do not paint the sides of an original sash, you know, an old growth wood and all this kind of stuff, is because doing so traps moisture in the sash and promotes rot, right? And if you know you go through all this trouble, you know, to bring that sash back to life, and you paint the sides to seal it in like I'm doing on this Accoya sash, okay, you seal its fate, and it was just a matter of time before it's going to take on water, become a water trap, and you're going to lose that sash. It might take a year, it might take 5 years. Mark my words, you have done it. But that's the difference between an original sash and an Accoya sash. You want to know the honest truth? I really don't know why, but that's the manufacturer. That's the wood's recommendation. I wish I could say I knew why. I'm sure there's a technical answer, you know, where I could look like I know what I'm talking about, okay? But I just have to be honest. With Accoya, I'm using a water-based primer. Water-based primer. That's different. That's another difference between an original sash, okay? With an original sash, we only want to use oil-based primers. Oils, okay? Because you have to use the oils to protect the original wood. The oils soak deep inside the pores of the wood and the grain, creating a lock. It's, you know, it not only creates a lock in the wood, but oil and water don't mix, okay? And so you want to give it that protection. If you have original wood, Accoya, it's not the same. That's a big secret. Not everybody knows. And you want you to prime all sides. So one of the things that I've learned, one of the ways I've learned to describe how you treat an Accoya sash is that you want to encapsulate the Accoya sash like an M&M, right? Like the candy part coating of an M&M. All right, so there we are, right? Okay, so that's one. Put my brush, my little resting pot there.